In the criminal defense clinic, we represent people who have been arrested and are charged with a crime, who can't afford to hire an attorney to protect their rights and fight on their behalf. Each student in our clinic has their very own cases and their own clients, and the students in the clinic serve as lead attorney on each of their cases. Through and beyond our individual clients' cases, we also take a broad systemic view and work towards big picture goals like ending mass incarceration and racial disparity in the criminal system. The clinic students have the opportunity to go to court often, both in their individual cases, but also as an observer, to help them understand how their individual clients' stories are part of larger dynamics like policing, over-reliance on financial status in everything from bail to fines and court fees. We examine things like the prevalence of how many guilty pleas exist in our system and low-level prosecutions, and look at a host of other issues that we encourage the students to identify and think creatively about being advocates around. We're also lucky in our clinic to have incredible partners right here at Duke Law School to help us expand our work and think more creatively about trial advocacy. So among those, there's a Wilson Center for Science and Justice, the Center for Criminal Justice and Professional Responsibility, and those partnerships create unique opportunities where we can incorporate other legal experts, cutting-edge data and science, and scholarship into our courtroom advocacy that we're doing on behalf of our individual clinic clients. My role is to teach clinic students some of the core substantive law that operates in our criminal defense cases and train them in the skills that they'll be using when they fight for their clients as student advocates in the clinic. This ranges from conducting interviews of clients and witnesses, reviewing discovery in a case, negotiating with other members of the adversarial system like prosecutors and probation officers, investigating their cases, advising their clients, and appearing in court. We meet both as a group and individually every week to make sure that each student can have their own time to work on the specific skills or questions that come up in their cases. And I also go to every court appearance with clinic students, but the students in the clinic are the ones who stand up in court and make the arguments on behalf of their clients. I also provide feedback so that each student can continue building on their skills through each experience as they grow as an advocate. As the clinic's director, I also represent the clinic and build relationships with community partners outside of the law school. So in this, we particularly seek opportunities to join community-led reform initiatives that are focused on Durham and North Carolina, where the clinic students can be participants in interdisciplinary systemic reform work in the criminal justice system. One of the great benefits of our work is that students in the criminal defense clinic are able to appear in court on their own cases. In a lot of jurisdictions, students can do things like shadow in court or sit at the counsel table next to an experienced attorney, but they're not allowed to argue themselves. That's not the case here, where our students are eligible, starting in the spring semester of their second year, to stand up in court and advocate for their clients. We also offer an advanced clinic, which enables a student to return for a second semester working with the clinic. Students in our clinic handle every aspect of their client's case. So from the very first meeting, where you explain to a client why they were arrested, what they're charged with, the potential penalties they're facing, and what to expect in their case and their court appearances going forward, all the way through things like investigating the facts, arguing for bail, preparing direct and cross-examinations, arguing motions, and having a trial. The vast majority of our day-to-day work is communicating directly with our clients, getting to know them and understanding their story, and then thinking strategically so that we can conduct legal and factual research to come up with the best advocacy plan to fight for our clients. The students in the criminal defense clinic learn all types of legal skills that you would need in order to represent a client through the entire life of their case. This is everything from legal research and writing to client interviews, advisals, case theory development, case management, litigation and trial skills, and critical thinking and self-reflection. We handle our cases every step of the way, from the beginning to the end, and practice as a group and individually the skills that you need to do that successfully for your client. In our clinic, we've helped a teen who was never arrested before save their dreams of one day serving in the military. We've found clients help that they sorely needed that didn't have much to do with their court case at all. And we've walked out of court hugging a client who started out a case with a very fair and a very deep skepticism that anybody involved in the system might actually fight for him. Even in the context of work that's often emotional, traumatic, and difficult, our work provides really too many great moments, and we have too much respect for our clients' confidentiality to boil it down to one specific great story. But the truth is that the great privilege of criminal defense work is standing beside your client and fighting for them. And in the clinic, we get to do this every day. There are many opportunities to assist in criminal defense work and remain engaged with these issues pro bono once you've graduated from law school. This can range from things like law firm partnerships with indigent defense counsel to individual attorneys taking the time to volunteer with a local legal aid provider who's filing expungements of old convictions, or volunteering at a warrant clearing event at your local courthouse. In the clinic, one of our hopes is that our students will leave, that's whether they go on to be defense attorneys or not, with a better understanding of the deep scars that even a supposedly minor case can have on a person, their family, and their community. Even beyond lawyering, if we all remain interested, connected to, and willing to stand up to the sort of systemic problems that we discuss in the clinic, the experience will be impactful and we will be impactful.